They say you are what you eat, so I don't eat chicken feet. But I love me some of Grandma's pickled beets. Well, cut it up, put it in the pan, throw it over your shoulder and see where it lands right here in Farmer's Kitchen. Maters, taters, beans and corn, the cows in the barn and the sheep's been shorn, kids in the barnyard chasing Grandpa's chicken. Spices, slices, cuts and dices, gonna slash your grocery prices right here in Farmer's Kitchen. Help you grow your garden good with recipes to suit your mood. Try some grub you've never tried before. Smash it with a wooden mallet, gonna educate your palate. Right here in Farmer's Kitchen, in Tim Farmer's Country Kitchen. We're gonna cook something good now.
Funding for Tim Farmer's Country Kitchen is brought to you by the City of Stanford, Kentucky. Come back home to Stanford. L81 Bottling Company. Taste, love, and share the tradition. Woods Equipment Company has every tool you need to make working the land as rewarding as hunting it. Good Foods Co-op, Marksbury Farm Market, Weisenberger Mill, your village shop.
Hello and welcome to Tim Farmer's Country Kitchen. Hello, Nikki. Wait a minute. What'd you do with Nikki?
I don't know. Where did she go?
Is she behind the hutch? No.
I don't
This
know.
is Cassandra Buchanan, otherwise known as the Egg Lady.
Yes.
Now, I love eggs. We're going to talk about all things eggs. We got a really kind of cool show for you today. We're going to talk about pruning your trees. We have a guy who's going to come out, and you remember him from a couple weeks ago. He's going to come out and climb our pear tree and get it all pruned up. I have been trying to get the birth of one of my lambs on tape. Such a miracle birth is to see this thing happen. Finally captured a birth on tape of twins. Beautiful thing. Then we're going to expand the farm. Okay, I've been wanting to get a cow. I'm going to talk to some folks who do cattle, and we're in bourbon country. So at the end of the show, we're going to show you how to make a few interesting cocktails. But here we are in the kitchen with Cassandra, and I want to ask you about eggs.
Well, here in Kentucky, a lot of people don't realize that poultry and eggs are the #1 agriculture commodity for the state of Kentucky.
Wait a minute. Eggs?
Eggs are,
the number
yes,
one.
eggs and poultry.
Over cattle?
Over
Over
beef,
beef?
cattle, yeah. As far as agriculture commodities, yes.
I would not have guessed that. I did not know
Yeah.
that.
Well, you know, eggs got a bad rap for a while, and actually, the past 10 years, they've done some retesting and calculating and all of those great things they do to find out that we're actually good for you. So we're the best kind of protein that you can eat, and it has 6 grams of protein per egg.
You brought some eggs with you today. All the eggs you buy from the store do not involve roosters.
Correct.
They're not around.
All the eggs we get from the grocery store are non-fertilized eggs. That means when you crack it open, there's not going to be a little baby chick surprise in there. However, if you go to a farmer's market and buy eggs, that possibility, you know, we can't
Exists.
guarantee, we're not going to guarantee that there's not going to be, you know, any fertilized eggs in that. Now, on the end of the carton, there's a Julian date, and that explains to you whenever it was actually produced and how long is the different runs and things like that. But actually, some eggs from the grocery store can last after their date on the end of the carton, the Julian date. They can actually last up to 5 weeks past that date. And if you have an egg that's past the date on the carton, you want to know if it's still okay to use.
That was my next question. There's a test.
There is a test. Get a cup of water. Going to drop your egg in the water. If it sinks, that means it's still okay to use. If it floats, we call those stinkers. I think you know why, but definitely don't use that egg.
Gases build up.
Right.
So if your egg floats.
And the air cell actually, as it ages, becomes much larger in your refrigerator. So if it floats, that's a major indicator it's not good. One of the main qualities is that it'll take on any flavor that you put with it. So we recommend storing it in the container versus on the side of the door, because that helps keep the eggs from absorbing different smells from your refrigerator.
So here we got these great eggs. So diverse. You can do so many things with them. You can use them in recipes. You can stand alone. I like to hard boil them.
Right. One of the most common questions I get is how do you boil eggs perfectly? And a lot of times in the past, we were learning from family members that were, passing it down to a generation. People would just boil the heck out of them. In doing so, that actually activates the sulfur between the white and the shell to create a green ring around it. That way we know it's overcooked.
And you're going to show us a new method to boil eggs.
Right. This is just out from the American Egg Board, guaranteed to make your eggs peel easily.
You said something off camera a minute ago that everybody says that, oh, the brown eggs are this and the white eggs are this. What's the truth to that?
Well, there is no difference between a brown egg and a white egg other than the breed of hen. Once you get them out of the shell, the nutritional makeup exactly the same. Now you're going to pay more for brown eggs at the grocery store because the majority of us think that brown is better. Save your family some money and buy the white eggs because you're getting the exact same thing.
Now the difference you say really is in any kind of egg is the diet can change the color of the yolk.
Yes,
and
it
things like
can. If you have a diet for a chicken that's high in corn, can actually change that yolk to a pale yellow color. It has more soybeans, alfalfa in its diet. It can actually take on a greenish cast, but it's not going to be that green eggs and ham green that we're used to on Dr. Seuss Day in elementary school. But just know what you feed it does alter.
What have you got right here?
I've got a steamer, and the way that this new technique is different from what we've learned in the past is we're actually going to add the eggs and the steamer in once the water has already started to boil. So we've gotten in our container about an inch of water standing. We're waiting for that to become a rapid boil, and then we're going to place our steamer into our pan here. And then we're just gonna put them in a single layer. And the trick to this though is that we're gonna put the lid on it and it basically steams your eggs.
So you keep the rapid boil going the whole time?
Rapid boil going for 12 minutes. That's to use for grade A large eggs. If you wanna do extra large eggs, we're gonna let it cook 1 minute longer to 13 minutes.
You're ready to cover it?
You're good to go. Then we're going to take the eggs out one at a time. You can rinse them off in cool water at your sink, or a lot of times I will add ice and give it an ice bath to cool it down more quickly.
So being that they're steamed, being that you do it this way, they're easier to peel.
Right.
If you want to eat them right now, just put them in cool water and boom.
Right.
They should be easier to
And
peel.
that stops the cooking process. What you're looking for when you're going to peel your eggs, you're looking for the air cell. It's going to be that larger end of the egg. And we're just going to gently tap it. And I tap it usually on both ends. And then we're just going to start kind of pinching on that air cell. And the one thing that always seems to make it more difficult to peel is going to be a thin layer called the shell membrane. And that actually protects it from bacteria getting inside the shell. We got it off.
Perfect egg.
We're gonna rinse it off, and then whenever we cut it in half, it'll actually be perfect.
Let me see what that perfect egg looks like.
You can show me what it looks like on the inside now. Perfect, yeah.
Green. You know what? Thank you so much for coming out today.
You're
Will you come
welcome.
back and visit
Thank
us,
you,
make
of
some more
course.
stuff, more egg recipes?
I would love to.
Let's
Be
do
my
that.
pleasure.
Thank you so much. Now, you know what? We've been talking about eggs. I've got fertile eggs. I got a rooster. I had 3 roosters. 2 of them ended up stir fry because we don't need 3 roosters chasing NICKI around because that makes her very upset. So we brought some fertilized eggs in, and I got some from my buddy. We're going to show you real quick a shot of what happened on day, I think it was 21, on my birthday.
Yeah.
We really enjoy our chickens. Chickens are getting very popular, even in your own backyard. You're able to do that in some cities. But we wanted to bring our eggs in. We put them in an incubator, walked away. Chickens early are pretty much carefree. We bought an incubator that had the egg rotator in that. It was automatic, so we didn't have to turn the eggs. Get your temperature, your humidity right, and next thing you know, you got a little hole in the egg. Next thing you know, one pops out and you've got a chicken. there, obviously, you move them out to your other area where you want a heat lamp, you want food, and you want water and some kind of absorbent material for them to do their duty in. And it's pretty much really carefree. They'll find their food, they'll find their water, they'll regulate their own body heat. If there's too much heat lamp, they'll back away from it. It's absolutely a wonderful way to get your own chickens started. If not, there are plenty of places you can get them from. Now, while it's spring, and we talked about baby chicks, we talked about eggs, now we have forever been trying to capture a baby lamb being born. Now, I'm going to tell you what we saw and how we saw the signs early, but let's go visit with Milkweed, who shared her birth of twins with us. We saw that Milkweed was getting mighty close, but again, we missed it by half an hour. First baby, very obvious signs. I saw that Milkweed was kind of pawing in the litter there in the hay. So you see that she's a little uncomfortable, you see she's restless, and when she kind of go around in circles, lay down, and next thing you know, you see the baby protruding out, hopefully head first. Now I was there to assist if I needed to. There was a couple times I almost jumped over the fence. If this is the first time you're doing this, if you've just got a bunch of new ones, you're going to be probably overly concerned. For the most part, this happens on its own. The baby came out. Next thing you know, she's taking care of it. She's licking it. She's cleaning it up. It's not like a puppy, which is pretty much helpless. Almost immediately, they try to get on their feet. Right after they get on their feet, they start to suckle. Next thing you know, they want milk. They need to get that colostrum. In the space of 2 days, our flock is up by 4. Now that's pretty substantial. So our flock is rapidly growing, and eventually we will have all the lamb that we can use and hopefully sell a few as well. Now, you remember John Strang? Out here a few weeks ago, we're talking about planting a small orchard. He told us where to put them, what kind of trees to use, but I was very curious about pruning an existing tree. John saw our pear tree, got his cutters, and next thing you know, I was looking up. All right, now, I do have one fruit tree that produces rather well on occasion. Now, I have done nothing to this tree. I only trim it when it pokes me in the eye when I'm mowing by it.
Okay.
So, tell me, give me the assessment of this tree. Again, this tree was here when I came here. I've done nothing to it. Kind of tell me what you think the health of this tree is and what I need to do to make things better for this poor little guy.
And you can see that this tree is completely spurred up and not really growing. It's just sitting there and producing fruit. With any tree, these are what are called spurs. These are the little short fruit producing structures. And each one of these buds will have 5, 6, 10 flowers in it that'll come out. This is the best time of the year to prune. Keep in mind that where you make a pruning cut, you tend to deharden that tree. A lot of people get excited about pruning in the fall. The tree's dropped its leaves. Well, it's got to develop its winter hardiness for the winter, and you really compromise that when you prune fruit trees in the fall. There's only 2 types of cuts that you can do on a fruit tree. One is called a heading back cut. If we want to cut the tip off of a shoot, we do that. This terminal bud gives off growth regulators that inhibit these lateral buds from breaking and growing. So when we do that, we cause that tree to branch. We don't want to do that on an older tree like this. That'll make a hedge out of it. So we use mostly thinning out cuts, where we take a branch off of it at its origin to open that tree up. We need to be able to get sunlight down into the interior of the tree to hit the leaves, because they're producing the sugars and the photosynthate to grow the pears. If we're not getting the sunlight in there, we're not getting those pears to color up and ripen properly. So to prune, you need a pair of hand pruners. There's several different types of these. If you've got a lot of pruning to do, make sure you get a little more expensive pair that's got good steel in it. Loppers, this will cut a little larger branch. This is nice for getting into the tree and taking some of those larger branches out to open it up. When you're taking a larger branch out, you want to make sure you don't leave stubs. That's going to either send up water sprouts, or it's going to die back to here and rot into your tree. So we want to cut those off pretty close, and then the tree can grow over that wound. This is a pruning saw. This is very different from the saw that you have in your shop. It's got a wider set on the teeth, so it'll cut green wood, and it cuts when you pull. One of the advantages of these pruning saws is they can get into fairly tight spots to take branches out. These are branches with very narrow branch angles that we need to get out of the tree to open it up some. We don't want to prune them too heavily because that makes them more prone to fire blight, a bacterial disease. That real vigorous growth is more prone to blight. That's a tough one for pears. That's the reason we don't grow a lot of pears in Kentucky, and we grow the blight-resistant ones. And what we do is just try to thin this out a little bit and open it up. It's really thick in here, so open it up by making some cuts like that. What you got to remember is everybody that prunes a tree is going to do it a little bit different, but you got to keep those basic concepts in mind. Trees get older, the fruit pulls the limbs down. This will bring it up. These are vertical ones that are going straight up. We're just thinning the branches out. You can see we're really thick right down here. Now here we've got two branches over top of each other. We're going to take the lower one off because the lower one will be shaded. But you'll notice in here, this is something a lot of people get concerned about. There's some lichens growing on the tree right here. And particularly in shady areas, we see these showing up on apple and pear trees. They're nothing to worry about. And vertical wood that goes straight up needs to be taken out. Keeps the sunlight from getting into the interior of the tree. You know, pruning is sort of sculpturing in time. You try to prune that tree to grow in the direction that you'd like. I've tried to leave branches with a little upward turn on them. We've taken anything off that's hanging down too low to the ground. Let me climb up top there and take a few more out, but you can see we're getting the inside of this tree opened up quite a bit. Here's another one that's very narrow. Here's one that's got some fire blight in it, so I'm gonna get this one out of here. This is probably getting up into the area where it's getting a little harder for you to pick the pears. I've chopped a lot out of this tree for a pear tree this year, but next year I'd probably come in and cut the top out about right here to start bringing the height down on your tree to get your pears down a little closer to the ground. And this one's still a little bit thick, but it's a lot better than it was. You can see we've opened it up quite a bit. This is what we do with older trees that haven't been pruned in a while. You take some out, next year you come out and take some more out. The root system on this tree is just as big as the top of the tree. And last fall, it stored a lot of carbohydrates in the roots as starch. It's going to pump those up to the top of the tree to grow in the spring. When it first comes out, it's not photosynthesizing, it's growing on its reserves. And we've reduced the number of buds that it can force those carbohydrates into, so it's going to make this tree grow a lot more. I don't normally get a ladder.
Now, I wanted to raise a beef on this farm, but as usual, I want to find an expert. I want to find somebody who knows about cattle to take a look at my situation, and we brought in Mr. Tarter. He's going to tell us what he does. Donald Tarter.
Yes, sir.
As we have a couple sheep and other critters in the background today, that's not the topic. Now I'm going to be leasing a little land over here, and you've kind of taken a look at it and told me maybe I need to put a little fertilizer out there and so on and so forth. But I'm interested in raising my own calf,
Beef.
steer, beef. There you go.
There you go.
I don't even know. I've been on the road so much with my last job for the last 25 years that I haven't been able to settle down and be close enough to do something like that.
Understand, yeah.
Let's talk about it from a small farm, hobby farm standpoint. You want to raise your own beef, maybe two. Maybe you want to raise one to eat yourself. From the point to where you bring it on your farm to where you take it to slaughter. What would you suggest when you see my layout here? You know, I can get some movable fence or do electric or whatever, but what would you suggest as far as cattle? What breed and where do we start?
You know, first of all, Tim, what I see here, you've got the capability that you could raise 3 or 4 head if you wanted to, but I understand that you're maybe just wanting a beef or something. So a couple of different ideas. You know, you could get you a female and you could buy her that she's already bred and you could see the calf being born. I think that would be interesting. You're going to get more attached to them like that. when that happens,
you do it on a small scale like that,
you're going to get attached to them. But you know, you could go ahead and have that female and you could have the calf, and then in probably 9 months to a year or something like that, that calf would be up big enough that you could butcher it. And you could get you a cow that's real gentle, kind of like your sheep is. It's just going to hang around with your sheep, and you know, she's
you can run them on the same ground.
Yeah, so they can just run them together, and you know, you could get a good gentle one. She would stay right around these cattle.
Now
these sheep.
That to me is very appealing.
Yeah.
I like the whole thought concept of that because you already got her, you can watch her and know when she's doing her thing. So let's talk about that. Here I am in Central Kentucky. Where do you find?
Stockyards. Every day, today is Thursday, they're selling 2,000 head down to Stanford, Kentucky. And they have special cow sales. And you know, you can go to individuals, you know, what we call private treaty, and trade with somebody and sell them, get them a cow. And you might even want to get you one that's got some milk stock in it. And when I say milk stock, you know, that's more of a dairy breed. And they'll, you know, you can breed them, and you can have a crossbred or something, an old gentle cow that you can go up and milk her out in the field if you want to, you know.
You know, everybody's saying, well, get you one, now that you're home, you can bottle feed it. Well, I'm not home that much.
No, well, but you don't need to start out bottle feeding.
No.
You can go buy baby calves that's 3 or 4 days old, and you can bottle feed them, and you know, you've got a long way to go. But they can get sick on you real easy too.
Well, I didn't expect you to throw that at me about the mother that already being bred. Yeah. To me, that's very appealing.
Yeah, I think that would probably be nature out here and seeing birth. I mean, that's gonna be an exciting time when mama cow gets ready to give birth to that, you know, kind of like your young ones here.
That's what I want to do. That's the direction I want to steer into. Now, you say you're gonna help me get this thing set up. You're gonna help me find that person.
Oh yeah.
When we find that person, we find that cow that's bred, we're gonna come up with a trailer, and we're gonna pick her up, and we're gonna bring her right here.
That's right. A good rule of thumb in Kentucky is, with pretty good land, you can run a cow per 1 to 2 acres.
Oh wow.
So you know,
I've actually got almost 12 acres right
yeah,
here.
so I mean, you know, if you could probably run 4 or 5 cows on here.
See, Nate, you're trying to turn me into a big-time farmer.
Well, see, that might be too big. It might be too big then, but.
I like the fact that with one cow, we can take this cow and run it with the rest of the critters we got.
Yeah, you just have a good gentleman, just let her run around here.
Move the fence around. It's going to get trained to that electric fence as well. And then next thing you know, we got a little one running around.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
Then we got food.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, step by step, the next step is I'm going to call you and we're going to get this thing worked out, and then we'll actually show us picking it up.
Yeah.
And we'll bring it back.
We'll go get him, and we'll find you one that's real gentle that'll fit into the environment real well here.
Man, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Step 1.
Okay.
I'm in a cattle farm. I'm trying to live up to my last name.
That's a cattle farmer.
That's right. All right. So it's a lovely afternoon, 70-some degrees. I'll take that.
Absolutely.
It's time for an afternoon, settle down, nice concoction here. What do you got for us today, Alex?
A mojito called Mojo.
Aha, that's all Kentucky.
It is all Kentucky.
Show us how it works.
All right, pretty straightforward. First off, we start with an ginger-infused simple syrup. You take about 2 teaspoons, unless you like it sweeter, you can do that to taste. Take a sprig of mint, get the leaves off of there.
Now, when you say simple syrup, it is simple. It's basically sugar and what?
Sugar and water heated up as a basic simple syrup. I did it with ginger, so I got some ginger root, minced it up real fine. You just gently muddle it. It's just to release the flavor of the mint. You're not trying to destroy it in there.
And you
It's simple enough.
actually are a bartender.
I am a bartender.
How many drinks do you have to know, would you think, to call yourself a bartender? Hundreds, thousands?
Hundreds.
Hundreds, at least.
Hundreds, and there's probably thousands of variations on every drink. So sometimes you just have to fake it, but you have to know hundreds to even begin. Now you just get to add your ice. Make it nice and cold on a sunshiny day. You add your 1.5 ounces of gin of your choice.
All right.
Top it off. And then a nice little touch, a big squeeze of orange.
Very nice.
Give it a stir to mix up the simple syrup and the mint. And you are done.
Thank you for this wonderful Sunday afternoon, Saturday morning, Thursday at 12:45. Mojo.
Absolutely, you're welcome.
Visit our Facebook page, Tim Farmer's Country Kitchen, and like it, follow us, talk with us, chat with us. Also, timfarmerscountrykitchen.com. If you have missed recipes or segments, how to, all that sort of stuff in the past, you can catch up. timfarmerscountrykitchen.com, click on shows, click on YouTube, and you are there. And remember, it's all about good times, good friends, and good eats. We'll see you next week on Tim Farmer's Country Kitchen.
To order a cookbook or DVD of the show, please call 502-319-0487 or email timfarmerck@gmail.com. Special thanks to Furniture World Superstore, Housewarmings, Lodge Cast Iron, Tater Knob Pottery and Farm. Funding for Tim Farmer's Country Kitchen is brought to you by Diamond Gusset Jeans, the original gusset jean. Careful craftsmanship, continual improvement. Diamond Gusset Jeans, born and worn in the USA since 1987.
So Jill, I know the markets have taken a hit lately. Just wanted to touch base.
How did Edward Jones come to manage over $800 billion in assets?
Here's our latest market outlook. There are two things that I'd like to point out.
So that's interesting. You know, we had spoken about that before.
Through FaceTime when you really need it. It's how Edward Jones makes sense of investing.